Hello, 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 hello. That's right, it is midnight, and you are listening to me, the one and only Teej, coming to you live from the Jack and Joe's Treasure Studio, part of the Electronic Media Division at CCM. I was able to get that out pretty quickly, and I'm kind of using that song as a bit of an informal intro for the moment because somebody refuses to record one with me. So I'm talking to Terry, my producer, who is once again joining me on this fabulous adventure that will be our evening. I don't know if midnight really counts as an evening, but we're going to just assume that it is anyways, because I'm always up at this time. I don't know about you, but it's really nice for you to be joining us. It's so great. Honestly. Gonna get back to that, whole intro bit in a bit, though, but I need to mention something else, because Terry dropped a bombshell on me right before I got into the studio. He came up to me all solemn and everything, like Terry does. Yeah, no, you do act solemn all the time. Do you want to say hi to people? No, you're not going to say hi again. Still refuses to talk. I'm sorry. It's just so rude, but, it's just how things work out sometimes. You have to work with some people that you don't particularly appreciate. That being said, though, he dropped a bombshell on me. He looked at me and was just like mumbling under his breath like Terry does, and informed me that this show wasn't canceled. I don't know if you remember, but a couple of weeks ago we were under academic review, that sort of thing, and this particular episode tonight and everything is being recorded for academic review again, and so keeps me on my toes, that sort of thing. But somehow we got past the censors and that sort of bits. No, I'm not giving you credit for that, Terry. It's not happening. No, that was my self-restraint is what brought that there. No, so we didn't get canceled, and that's so great. And so, Chad, you're probably not listening live, but you're probably going to listen to this at some point. Chad Ashmore, thank you very much for continuing this experience for everyone. So that was great. In addition to that, though, yeah, we're trying to get a whole new intro organized and that sort of bit, and spent some time in the studio with Terry. I was talking about that last week, and things went to crap. It was really something ferocious, and we couldn't get anything to work, and I apologize for that. It was just, I was really having to work on my toes right there, and it was not particularly the funnest evening, but all that is settled, all that is good, and so we'll be able to share some content, I'm told at least. Terry, we have some content to share. All right, well, before we get to that, we do have another bit of news that I was really excited about to hear, is that I've been really working hard to clean up my act and everything, making sure that everything stays positive and smiles and everything. And was recently informed that I am during safe harbor hours after all. And, it was allowing me to express myself a little bit more in a Teej manner, because I've said previously, I think that swear words are a way that, they're a way to express yourself a bit more freely. They're able to be, they feel more honest, honestly. If someone, describes something to you and they use a swear word somewhere to describe that means that they're passionate. There's some passion behind the weight of their words, unless they're like some sort of 12-year-old, in which case, no, it's just the only words that in their vocabulary. And we're working on that, but nobody seems to read anymore, and that's just a problem. That's another story altogether. Oh, where are we getting with this, Terry? I don't know. But the point of the matter, what I'm trying to say is that I think that I'm finally able to express myself in a manner that I think can be adequately exchanged on the radio without getting anyone into too much trouble. So, Terry, truly, and honestly, it has been a bitch to work with you. Right? I just think that that's such a good thing to get off my chest right there and to be able to share that with everyone. And, it's always, I've been hanging out in the air, but I think that, you have to notice the elephant in the room from a time. You can beat around the bush as much as you want, but eventually you're going to just have to come out and say it, right? Yeah, that's a good notion to have. So, that being said right there, Terry has a clip that we're going to play. What is this particularly? It's some sort of promotion for the show. Okay, so we don't have an intro, but we have a promotion for the show. Okay, well, give it a whirl. Let's see if we can get this going right here. Just, how about
All right,
this?
Terry, just let me know when you're ready to record, right?
I don't remember this.
Turn around, every now and then I get a little bit nervous and you're never coming round. Turn around, bright eyes, every now and then I fall apart. And oh God, Terry, you son of a why the
The one and only Teej, Thursday nights from midnight to 2, only on Bearcast Media.
come back here, you
Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit lonely and you're never coming.
So we spent all that time in the studio, and that's the only thing that you were able to produce out of all of that? Seriously? Like, we seriously need an intro. It's so unprofessional, Terry. You can't continue this up. Just mess it around, all right? I see how it is. Yeah, we're not allowed to be a little more risque, and you're just taking it right there in a negative direction. Way to go. Way to go. Oh, boy. So that's going on. Whatever. Moving on from that, I have noticed a particular switch in interest. Not particularly switch in interest. No, that's not true at all. It's just more of a emphasis in my interests lately. That is that I've been listening to a lot of David Bowie, for obvious reasons, of course. His recent passing has been it's been a damper on all of our spirits, I would imagine. You know, it's what a great individual, and now he's somewhere else doing something awesome. I bet, you know. There's a whole talk that we may have found a new planet in our solar system, and it coincidentally coincided with Bowie's death right there, so, alleged death, I should say. But that being said right there, you know, it's a bit of curiosity right there. Do you believe in coincidences? Maybe. I don't know. I think that's a weird thing to ask, because I think that there has to be some form of coincidences. That's just how variables and chance kind of works, doesn't it? I don't know, unless everything's meant to be, and we're some sort of Calvinist in some sort of sense like that. That'd be a really, really weird way to live. I don't think that could translate into our modern world particularly well. No. That just seems strange. I don't know why we're talking about that, though. We do have, so I've been listening to a lot of Bowie, and I don't know if you've been checking this out, but Beck, you know, the artist Beck Hansen is what his full name is, from what I understand, but, he was posting some really great things on Facebook, and I'm not one to sort of, like, use Facebook as some form of news source, but it was kind of nice to see that, you know, he was putting that out there, that he was a huge Bowie fan, and that, obviously, Bowie influenced a lot of Beck's work throughout the years, and both being, you know, artists that I respect to one of the highest degrees, definitely. Oh, boy. But going beyond that, you know, just listening to a lot of Bowie, I got interested in, you know, seeing some interviews and that sort of thing, and I stumbled across this great bit right here. From 1995, it was a interview with David Bowie and Trent Reznor, you know, because they did that work together. I think it was a full album, even. Yeah, and they did that show together. It was really, really cool, and they did that one song called I'm Afraid of Americans. Yeah, that was a crazy, crazy video. If you haven't seen that, you should check it out. It was a lot of fun. But that being said, got to see an interview with those two, and guess who it was done by? MTV. You remember that? Remember, like, those, I don't know, I was probably only, like, 3 at the time when that was, I was 3 at the time when that was shot, and then, you know, MTV just went down the crapper right after that, I'd imagine. Yeah, but MTV used to be, like, music-oriented, and that's actually what the M in MTV stands for. It was this really cool concept that you could, you know, project music onto a television screen and, you know, get interviews with artists and, you know, just get general information about music. I have no idea what it's supposed to be now, honestly. I've been avoiding it like the plague, though, so go figure. But it was really cool to see those two in the room and talking about each other's styles, which I don't know how you're supposed to respond to something like, oh, so when did you first become acquainted with Mr. Bowie here? Crazy. I don't know. There's some really cool stuff on YouTube, though, that's available, you know, entirely for free and that sort of thing. So if you're feeling nostalgic or, you know, sad, I recommend, you know, just checking that out for a moment there, definitely. Ooh, you know, we got some formal stuff to talk about. This is nice. This is good. Check this out. We have a PSA. And it is from... Okay, it's from personnel who do data entry, and I guess this is a general thing. They've collaborated across the nation in some sort of sense, like data enterists. Is that the job title description? I don't know. Data analyst particularly, but you're not entering it. You're just entering it. You're not analyzing it. So data entry people, that's where we're going to leave you at. Data entry people, they're trying to get students, the entire student body, to start taking surveys a bit more seriously. Apparently, handwriting on these things has been relatively illegible, spelling and grammatical errors out the wazoo. It's very, very difficult to get these from a, you know, handwritten into a computer. That transition gets very, very difficult, and they just say that they would require you, just asking at least, to please write legibly on your surveys. Do not do your best with spelling and attempt at some grammar. That being said, it goes, there's a weird illustration at the bottom of this page. Terry, have you seen this? You just passed this off to me. There's this weird, like, drawing of some people, and there's a lot of, like, scribbling. There's dark lines that kind of just go about, and it looks a little bit, like, malicious, but not, like, in a horrible way, but, like, in a, maybe, like, this kid needs to go to therapy kind of way. Like, if you see some sort of kid carrying around this in their coloring book, and they're, like, 5, you're like, maybe that's a sign or something. But, you know, if this is an adult, I mean, you should be all right with that. But then below all of that, there's just, like, there's a really, like, defined, bold word, engineers. Yeah. And that's just circled right there. I don't really know what that means, but yeah, if you could please, just write a little bit more legibly on surveys, it would be appreciated by the data entry people. Okay, good to know, good to know. Oh, also, we do have a sponsor for this show. I was very excited. Terry actually found us a sponsor. I really don't know how that worked or anything like that. Apparently that didn't change our budget in any sense of it, because we still don't have new music, but still working on that at least, slowly but surely. That being said, though, this show is being brought to you by water. Water. Drink it, or you'll die. Sounds a bit threatening, Terry. Well, I wasn't sure how I was supposed to read it. I mean, if I guess I could read it a different way and it wouldn't sound threatening. Drink it, or you'll die. Drink it, or you'll die. I mean, like, there's a lot of different ways, and there's no punctuation or anything whatsoever, so how was I supposed to know what to read? Okay. Well, trying to be professional about this. Alright, well, I have one last anecdote before we'll kick it over to some music. How does that sound? I think it sounds awesome. I need to, get a little bit of movement going on, that sort of bit right there. Does that sound good? I can't wait. That being said, though, one last little bit of information right here. The blood drive was last week, and I hope that you went, honestly, because it was a great time, as always. I love going to donate blood, because it's just, it's a great experience. I don't know why, but it's so much fun to talk to strangers when they're lightheaded. And that may sound weird in that kind of context, but I mean, like, in the confined space of a bar, I mean, that's kind of the function of a bar, isn't it? You go out and you socialize with people, and you're, a little bit tipsy or something like that. And so, hanging out at a blood center, you're not doing anything really harmful to your body. You're actually doing something a world of good, and you get to be a little lightheaded and talk to strangers. I think it's a great little thing right there, and people are less, abrasive. And, I think ultimately if we were all a little less abrasive, we'd have a better time. That being said, though, I got into a conversation with complete strangers. I didn't even get their names, that sort of thing. That's just the wonderful situation that, being lightheaded among strangers at a blood... Yeah, it's great. No, this guy was talking about some of the music that was playing in the background. And I guess, to keep people's spirits up and, keep the blood going, they like to play a lot of that, I don't know, what is it called? R&B? Or I don't even know what it's... That stuff that I hate to listen to. Yeah, and in particular, it was Drake. Drake was playing in the background. I almost said the artist Drake, but that might be disagreeable to some, especially myself. He was describing Drake's music, and he was like, if you just tune it out, and, you really don't pay attention to it, it's really kind of good. And that's at least what I picked up at that sort of thing. And I had to, take some conflict to that. I mean, I didn't think that music was supposed to be this awful experience that you just put yourself through, begrudgingly, so that you had something to talk about with the popular kids at school. This isn't high school anymore. Oh my. No, it just seems a little bit strange that you wouldn't, want to listen to music and enjoy it a bit more than that. But I guess, there are people who are like that. And that's okay that there are people like that, but I just don't get it per se. I think ultimately from that experience, I appreciated that individual for knowing that he liked to listen to this music despite not actually liking it to a certain extent. Admitting that it wasn't great music, but at the same time, we were able to just agree that it was, and that's all we had to have it to be. Isn't that beautiful? Alright. Well, going to kick it over to some music. I got the White Stripes here, and I haven't heard their stuff in a good bit, so I'm going to play one of my favorites from them. This is Denial Twists, coming at you later.